Good evening. This is Casey, also known as Cora626. Tonight, I will be discussing what's going on with my gameplay and what's to come. First, I want to thank those of you who stuck around and didn't unsub from my channel. I appreciate you. To give you guys a quick recap, I didn't have a lot of time to devote to recording because of my nephew's motorcycle accident last summer. In addition, as he was healing, I was presented with a whole slew of challenging experiences I was not ready for. My nephew is 100% now. I minimized the challenges that could change my life for the worst and chose not to overextend myself just to be nice. Hard decisions, but family and self-preservation are just as important as being a nice person. So I thank all of you for your patience, and I'm hoping to be able to keep up with this moving forward. However, there will be times when real life will call because I still work, care for my family, and care for my mom. Now to The Sims. I'm planning on playing a lot of different hoods. Because I just can't get enough of overwhelming myself. I'm mashing up the vanilla hoods with custom hoods to allow the characters that perhaps have not interacted to interact. My hope is that it will spice up some gameplay and make for some great stories. I have these split into 2 saves based on custom content. One save will use the 4T2 conversions of today, and the other will have more classic custom content from the past before 4T2 was a thing. Oh, but wait, let me tell you how and why this came about. Remember when we were taking on the venture of visiting greener pastures by playing The Sims 2 on Linux? Well, I wanted to jump in on this bandwagon. However, since I tend to do things with as little planning and sleep as possible, I formatted the hard drive that had all of my backups in it, thinking it was the thumb drive I was putting Linux in. My saves and all of my custom content. Oh, the awesome custom content. I can say that I can finally say this without crying. Anyway, how traumatizing. But when life gives you lemons, let's make lemonade, damn it. I took this time to work on rebuilding what I have lost. I was able to recoup a lot of it. I will have to replay my Pleasant View and catch it up to speed. I will also have to play elsewhere from the end of the second introduction video because that was all I could find that was still playable. I had that save tucked away somewhere and I found it, thank goodness. Since I also lost my tracking sheet, and I've been all about mashing things up, I created a new tracking sheet by mashing up the Crumpulator by Lord Crumps and 8's Hood Tracker. There were features on both that were not available on the other, so I decided to marry them and came up with this. Okay, so here we are at the Lord Crump's website where you can obtain the Crumpulator. And Lord Crumps put a lot of great features into the Crumpulator that I will show you later, but we're going to move on to 8's Hood Tracker. You can get it here on her Tumblr. This is what it looks like. There are several things you can do with this tool, which is awesome. You have an overview sheet that has pie charts and keeps everything pretty much organized. You have your days tracking here and your sim information tracking here. There's a lot of great things that you can see, and this is the dashboard. Here is where the households are tracked and their worths and the members of the household, in addition to your sim tracking. You could also track careers and things that happen in your Sims family's timelines, in addition to a graveyard where you would put your deceased Sims when you want to remove them from your Sims information rotation. So, this tool is really, really awesome and detailed. The Crumpulator is a little bit different. It's a little less detailed, but it does serve a lot of purpose, and I want to show you how that works. Okay, so Lord Crumps has it so you can calculate your Sim's main aspiration and secondary aspiration. Not only that, but you can also calculate the ideal degree for your Sim, in addition to the Sim's ideal career, based on the data that you put in this tab here, which is also a form of tracking, just like the Sim information tab that you saw in 8's calculator. So one thing that Lord Crumps did was he made fields to track your Sim's personality and interests. And once you plot that in there, you can go into the calculator, and with this little drop down arrow, you can select a Sim and it'll tell you exactly what the numbers are for their personality. So, for example, Darren Dreamer has a high knowledge number. So his primary aspiration, actually no, his primary aspiration would be family. See, I am not very good at deciphering numbers here. So this is why on my version, which is this one here, this is why on my version I added this, where it automatically populates with the higher number for the primary aspiration and the secondary aspiration is going to be. So that way I'm not lost and miscalculating what my Sim's primary and secondary aspiration is. It does the same thing for the ideal degree and the ideal career. Now, what I did was I kept 8's dashboard because I definitely like that feature with the graphs in it and everything. So that was really good. And then the Sim data, I married the Sim data tab between Lord Crumps's and 8's. So I tracked all the generic information from the Sim here. Editing Casey here. I forgot to include another feature that I added to my Sims information tab. The elder is calculated by the number of days and the aging mod that I have in my game. So, for example, an adult is a lower range than 74 years old. If Gunther Goth was 45 days old, that would make him an adult. If he was 5 days old, that would make him a toddler. Let's say that he is 15 days old, then he would be a child, and 22 days old, he would still be a child, I guess. And 30 days old, he would be a teenager. This is also where I want to show you this checkbox feature. Let's say that this teen wants to go to college, right? You know how there's always an issue with calculating the days that they're in college versus the days they're not in college. All I have to do is check this box, and as long as this box is checked, they will be classified as a young adult. That would also tell me that they're away at college. So if you check it, it shows young adult. If it's unchecked, it shows the original age. So then when you calculate the age as you're rotating, it doesn't matter, because if they're here, if they're in college for several rotations, that won't change until you remove that ticker. Heck, they could be an elder, 74 years old, and as long as that ticker is checked, they're showing up as a young adult. So let's unticker that. I just wanted to show that to you guys as well. If you guys want any of the formulas that I used for my spreadsheet, please feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to give that to you. Anyway, back to the original video, editing Casey out, along with primary, secondary aspirations, true hobby, traits project, secondary hobby, which is something that City of Tomorrow shared. And I also forwarded that share to all my subscribers as well, because I thought that was a really cool thing. And as well as the Sims lifetime aspiration, I also have the traits tracking, all 5 traits and their favorite color, along with their favorite music. I also track their zodiac signs, their sexual orientation, their turn-ons and turn-offs, and then this is where we go into the Lord Crump's territory. So now I can also do the same thing and select a sim, and it'll give me whatever I need to know about that sim. Now, this is a cat, and because this is a cat, cats do not have a primary, or should they not have a secondary, or any of this other stuff. So let's go back to a human. There we go. And you won't get that NA. But if you do have a pet, pets don't really have aspiration points or personality points, so they won't be able to populate these fields. So yeah, this is, and I also did a tab for zodiac facts, because the description of the zodiacs for the Sims also provides a lot of detailed information about your Sim's personality too. So if you want to shape your Sim based on its zodiac sign, you can do that and choose traits and characteristics based on what their zodiac sign is as well. Anyway, enough about sim tracking. Let's talk about the mashup. I will meet you in my game so you can see what neighborhoods I'm going to mash up. See you there. Okay, the first hood in the Classic CC save folder is going to be River Blossom Hills. River Blossom Hills came with the Seasons game pack, and I've never played it before. I only got Seasons for the Seasons. You know, I've heard that some neighborhoods are much more boring than others, but I'm going to try to spice this up as much as I can. I've added Frosty Lake is a neighborhood that was created by Vigrid Sim. The neighborhood is originally in Russian. I did provide a translated version. I used Google Translate. I don't know Russian. I know a couple of words because my husband can speak Russian, but not enough to get into a fight with. So I used Google Translate to translate the storyline, so I understood it a little bit better. And I'm going to have to do that again because I was too lazy to download my version, and I just took what was already in my downloads folder. And yeah, so that's where we are. Anyway, our next stop, Strange Town. From the cold to the heat. All right, so here we have our alien desert area, and I've never played this one either. And you're going to get sick and tired of hearing me say I've never played this one either, because in all honesty, I haven't played a lot of these games. I just basically played with the properties and dressing the Sims up and stuff like that. I mostly treated the game like playing Barbies when I was younger, and you know, as I got older, I just got more into the building aspect and really didn't play the game. So I've matched this up with Baskerville. Baskerville is a neighborhood that was created by Plastic Box. It's an empty neighborhood. I have some Sims that are aliens that I'm going to populate in here and have them interact with the characters in Strange Town. Next, we will go to Veronaville. So here we are in Veronaville, and I've never played this one either. So I'm just getting a big kick out of myself saying that I've never played these games. So Veronaville is mashed up with Revelry Hollow. Revelry Hollow is a fantasy-based neighborhood that was created also by Vigrid Sim. And this is going to be an interesting gameplay, and it'll give me a chance to add some of the fantasy custom content that was that I think are classics, like the antlers that I believe were made by either Rented Space or Trapping, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to fix that and edit and just put a little blurby on the top of this video after I find out who truly made those antlers. And fairy wings and bunny ears and all kinds of other custom content that's going to fit perfectly in here. So I cannot wait to start this gameplay. And next up, we will have Old Town. Old Town was the map from Sims 1. Philosophy made this neighborhood for The Sims 2, which is their version of Old Town. And it's great because here we have all the vacation lots for camping. Up here we have the Winter Wonderland. It's a shame that I can't control the seasons by quadrant. It would have been great. And then here we have the beach stuff along with downtown. And we have the Gothic Quarter here. The original Sims map up here. And then the rest of Old Town over here, the farming district. But yeah. Oh, and then over here is supposed to be Magic Town. And over here is supposed to be Studio Town. So we'll see if I add more properties for those things here. This was mashed up with Middle Ground. Middle Ground was a neighborhood that was created by Plastic Box. Now, it didn't look exactly like this. I did add some more properties to fill it up a little bit more, and I wanted to create more of a city area as well as a country area. This was just basically suburb. So this is Middle Ground. There are no characters in it, but there will be one that I know of, and that will be Sandy Appleseed, who will live on this farm, and she will be the contributor of all the fruits and vegetables between Old Town and Middle Ground. So we're going to go ahead and move along to the 4T2 version of my saves and go over the mashups there real quick. First stop on the 4T2 save is Belladonna Cove. Belladonna Cove is the apartment life neighborhood, and I tweaked it a little bit, made it more me, and I really like the way it came out. I do have to do some landscaping, as Lord Crumps's trees are pretty big, which is good because it does save some space on, you know, the amount of trees that have to be somewhere. So I really like that. And this red bud is life for me. Anyway, that is Belladonna Cove, and Belladonna Cove was mashed up with What If Pleasant View. What If Pleasant View is my new Pleasant View, actually, and New Pleasant View is an endeavor that I went on that Plumtails saved me from. I could not have done this without Plumtails, and I am so happy that they helped me out with this. And anyway, this is New Pleasant View, also known as What If Pleasant View, and the reason why I say that is because What If Pleasant View was mashed up with Old Town the way it was supposed to be when The Sims 2 came out. What happened to some of the Sims there, and what of their lives? So we have the Meshuggah family, and they are retired, and they're in a retirement home right now. And their daughter, one of their daughters, owns their house currently. Then we also have the Dreamers and the Pleasants. The Burbs, they live in this house here, which was the original address, I believe, of the Burbs when Old Town was a thing in The Sims 1. And then we also have Hick, the Hick family. Eldon and Claire Charming got together and had children themselves. And then we have the beachfront condos that the Calientes and Lothario live at. So, yeah, I can't wait to get this done. There's some landscaping I have to do. I have to add the bridges and stuff. Well, anyway, long story short, here it is. The next neighborhood we're going to look at is Desiderata Valley. Desiderata Valley is where one of our known and beloved characters from Elsewhere is originally from, and that is Joan. Joan is originally from Desiderata Valley, and this is her family home right here. The person taking care of her family home is the sister of Joan. After Joan's parents passed away, Joan acquired their fortune. Their sister Trinity acquired a trust fund along with the family home. So I don't want to give away too much. I am not going to talk about this anymore, and I'm going to let it play out. And I'm going to show you the changes that I made to Elsewhere. Okay, so here we are in Elsewhere, and Joan's house, of course. And here they are. They're all living there, and sadly, Joan is not doing so hot, but we'll pick up her spirits. I added some new things that were whisked away. I did some rebuilding. I lost the beach that I made. I lost the little gas station that was next to the ferry. And I also lost the pier I made, so I'm going to have to rebuild those. But either way, Elsewhere is still here and intact, and I will be playing it soon. And I want to thank people who have asked me when I was going to get back to it. It just motivated me to get this done a little bit faster, because I do want to provide the stories that you want to hear regarding Elsewhere, because it did become an interesting story, and I also want to know what's going to happen with these characters. So thank you so much. Next stop is Dephilia. Dephilia is a hood that was made by Moon Lin, and I've been wanting to play this one for a long time. Certain simmers have already played it and posted videos on it, so I want to see how I fare with the characters in this cute little island. Currently, Dephilia does not have a mashup partner, as I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in here, and I want to play it out first and get a real feel for the neighborhood before I mash it up with another place. Now, I made this the main hood because I had some problems turning it into a sub hood, so this will be the main hood. I don't have any more vanilla hoods that I can mash it up with, but I'm sure I'll find something out there in custom content land that I could probably mash it up with. But we're going to move on to the next place, which is my Pleasant View. I will have to start with the gameplay all over on it, and I'm going to try to make it as close to what I already had as possible. I want the memories to be intact and everything, so I'll have to watch my videos and see what I did, so that way I won't change where the story was going. So it might be a while before I actually play this one, because I actually have to play it to catch it up. But Pleasant View will be mashed up with Blue Water Village, just like it was before. And there is going to be one difference, and I'll show you that soon. The reason why I'm keeping it with Blue Water is because I want to see what happens with Nina Caliente and Gilbert Jacket. So anyway, let me show you why Blue Water was the place. This is the Plumtail version of Blue Water. What a work of art. Look how pretty this looks. And oh, by the way, I got this mod that allows the buildings to light up at night. I love it. Check this out. Ha, cute. I will put a link to that in there so you guys can have it if you don't have it already. I'm sure many of you have it already anyway, but I'm going to link it anyway just in case there's a person who needs it. But yeah, this mod is awesome. I think it's from Mitch the Tree, if I'm not mistaken. But enough said. This has been my catch up of the mashups that I will plan to play. And I really hope and pray that I have time for these videos because I really do want to create them and I really do enjoy playing the game as far as stories are concerned, because I only used to ever build lots and dress the characters up. I never really got into playing the game. So anyway, with that note, I'm going to leave you guys and wish you a good night. Stay sweet, stay healthy, and thanks for joining me.